Did you know that the most surprising myth about Napoleon Bonaparte has been hiding in plain sight right under our noses, or rather over our heads? Stay tuned to find out. Napoleon Bonaparte, the iconic French leader, has been the subject of countless myths. Some are laughable, others intriguing, but the most surprising one will surely make your eyebrows reach for the sky. So buckle up, history buffs and trivia lovers, as we debunk the myths and reveal the realities of this fascinating Frenchman. Let's dive right into the myths and realities of this fascinating Frenchman. Myth number 1, Napoleon was short. Fact or fiction? Now this is a widely spread myth that has been passed down through generations. The truth, however, might surprise you. Napoleon Bonaparte wasn't exactly a towering figure, but he was by no means short. You see, during his time, he was actually considered of average height. The confusion arose from a difference in measurement systems. The French used their own system of measurement which listed Napoleon's height as 5 feet 2 inches, but when converted to the British system, it equated to roughly 5 feet 7 inches, pretty standard for the early 19th century. Now here's a fun twist. The British, eager to belittle their formidable adversary, chose to stick with the French measurements, further perpetuating the myth of a diminutive Napoleon. Irony at its finest, don't you think? Myth number 2, Napoleon was scared of cats. Can we believe this? Well, let's dive into the furball of this tale. Many have speculated that the French leader had ailurophobia, an irrational fear of cats. However, this is likely more fiction than fact. The rumor probably originated from a misunderstanding of Napoleon's private life. You see, Napoleon Bonaparte, despite his tough exterior, was quite a private man. His personal life was often shrouded in mystery, leaving room for wild speculations. One of these was his supposed fear of cats, but historical records suggest otherwise. In fact, it's documented that he had a pet cat while in exile on St. Helena. So, it seems the myth of Napoleon being afraid of our feline friends is just that, a myth. Instead, it appears he had a soft spot for the little creatures. Looks like Napoleon wasn't a scaredy cat after all, but what about his hand in waistcoat pose? Myth number 3, Napoleon always had his hand in his waistcoat due to a stomach ailment. Let's dash this myth to pieces, shall we? Contrary to popular belief, Napoleon's iconic hand in waistcoat pose wasn't due to a stomach ailment, nor was it a secret sign to his troops, or an attempt to hide a missing hand. Nope, none of that drama. In reality, this pose was quite the trend in the 18th and 19th centuries. It was seen as a sign of calm and leadership. Painters of the time often depicted military leaders, politicians, and other influential figures in this pose. Think of it as the duck face selfie of its time. Napoleon, being a man of his time and a lover of trends, adopted this pose, and it eventually became synonymous with him. Who knew that the French emperor was such a fashion icon, right? Napoleon's hand in waistcoat pose wasn't due to a stomach ailment. Now let's reveal the most surprising myth. And now for the most surprising myth about Napoleon Bonaparte. The rumor mill of history has churned out quite a spicy story. It would have us believe that our little general had a clandestine love affair with Josephine's chambermaid. Yes, you heard it right, Josephine's chambermaid. It's like a plot twist straight out of a soap opera, isn't it? But before you start picturing Napoleon in a scandalous tryst, let's take a step back. History, after all, is not a gossip magazine. The truth is, there's no historical evidence to back this claim. No love letters, no secret rendezvous accounts, not even a whisper of it in the memoirs of those who surrounded Napoleon. It's almost as if someone, somewhere, decided that Napoleon's life needed a bit more drama and just threw this in. Perhaps it was an attempt to paint him as a Casanova, or maybe to tarnish his image. We may never know. But what we do know is this. Napoleon, despite his many quirks and flaws, was not a man to engage in such frivolous dalliances. His heart, it seems, belonged to Josephine alone. So no secret love affairs for Napoleon. History, it seems, is not only stranger than we think, but also stranger than we want. Before we wrap up, we have one more thing for you. Ever wonder why Napoleon loved chicken? Because he knew his victories were always a peck away. Now isn't that a clucking good myth? Just imagine the great conqueror strategizing over a chicken dinner. You've got to love history's sense of humor. And remember, just like Napoleon wasn't really short, not everything you hear about history is as tall as it sounds. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep questioning.